Welcome, welcome. I am Reverend Bere Soto. I am the Director of Young Adult Leadership Development at NBA. And we are so glad that you're joining us for part one of our financial literacy webinar series called Welcome, welcome. I am Reverend Bere Adulting 101, things that nobody taught me about money. And this is part one. This series is a collaboration between NBA's Young Adult Leadership Development, the Making a Child Change Foundation, and Disciples Home Missions Youth and Young Adult Ministries. Together, as a village, we are going to explore how money can be a tool for empowerment and not just survival. I want to give some housekeeping announcements before we start. Tonight's session, as you may see, is being recorded and will be posted in our website as a resource. And that being said, as you also see, this is not a webinar style Zoom. This is a regular Zoom meeting because we hope to engage with one another throughout it. So we want to honor your sense of privacy. And you can choose to leave your camera on or turn it off. You are also, you have the freedom to, if you want to change your name, do so as well. But what we do ask of each one of us is that your microphone is muted during the presentation so that we all can hear and be able to engage with the content as we go through. This webinar is meant to be, as I said, an interactive learning opportunity for everyone here. So feel free to interact in the chat throughout the session. Share your thoughts, questions, and reflections. Do not share your traumas because we don't have time for those. But if you were expecting, speaking of traumas, if you were expecting a lecture here and just listening to something, this is not the type of webinar. We are here to get real about our finances, about the things some of us wish we would have learned about money, and to share as an open and safe space here. As I mentioned earlier, I am joined by two fabulous women who will be leading us in this webinar, and they will be sharing their expertise and helping us to reflect and learn. So let me introduce you to the voices that you will be hearing from us today. And I am your host, as I said, Reverend Bere Soto. I am the Director of Young Adult Leadership Development at NBA. Bullet points about me is I am all about supporting emerging leaders across diverse communities. I am very passionate about empowering young adults through leadership, wellness, and spiritual formation. I'm experiencing creating peer learning spaces that foster growth, reflection, and community care. I am very much committed to collaborative leadership and nurturing the next generation of change makers like you all. And I believe that financial literacy is not just about money, although it is important. It is all about freedom, choices, and thriving futures. Today, we're also hearing from the Reverend Menagerie Winston. She is a minister, educator, advocate for creating spaces where all ages and identities belong and thrive. Firmer believer of equipping emerging leaders to grow, heal, and lead with purpose in church and community. The creator of an affirming curriculum for spiritual and emotional well-being of youth navigating today's challenges. Reverend Menagerie's ministry approach is all about radical love, educational vision, and a deep commitment to justice and belonging, with a focus of movement building that centers liberation, cultivates growth, and amplifies its voices across generations. Welcome, Reverend Menagerie. We also will be hearing from Sophia M. Burnett, the Executive Director of the Making a Child Change Foundation, an advocate for low-income teens in the African-American and poverty-striking communities. She's a curriculum writer, eco-nopreneur, a licensed minister, a mother of three beautiful, creative, wonderfully made young adults, socioeconomic justice advocate, and successful failure. We would love maybe to hear a little bit more about that. And if you have questions, we will have, excuse me, some of our all of our contact information. We will share it with you all. So let's begin, all of us, grounding ourselves after we have heard about the people we will be hearing from. Let's begin grounding ourselves in the idea that money is not inherently good or evil. It's just a tool. It just is. And now let's try to start centering on how we use it actually reflects our values, our stories, and our hopes. And so for that, I will hand it over to Sophia to lead us in this portion.
Thank you guys for joining us today. Listen, I'm 100% passionate about financial literacy and understanding it is more than just dollars and cents. It is about your mind, about how you feel, and about your being in your totality, right? I'll hit on that successful failure real quick because I know the audience is questioning it. So I learned in my many travels that the word FAIL, is an acronym for first attempt in learning. And so instead of, you fail, you give up, you fall down, you bump your knee, you hit your head, come up against that brick wall. I call myself a successful failure because when I did those things, I took the lessons that was learned and decided to apply them. And then that way it gave me another opportunity to try again. So everybody, when you fail, it is okay. Just make sure that you take what you learned from it so you can be successful the next time around. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So what are we talking about over these next 3 sessions? Look, you guys are coming in on the baseline foundation where it all begins, and that is changing the mindset. If you guys are watching this back or you come in December or January, please go back and review this session because this is going to be the most important session to be able to ground you, to be able to get you to understand who you are when it comes to your finances, right? Now, part 2, we're going to go into changing the behavior. So once you know who you are, now it's time to apply, right? Those failures. Now it's time to apply that skill, apply the next set, giving yourself agency to be in control of your life. And then finally in January, we're wrapping up with changing the future. How do we now take the very things that we have learned, that we have now applied, and to be able to begin to give that for legacy, not just for yourself, right? But also for generations that's coming after you. We have to learn that once we get the gifts, we now have to spread them out. Amen. I said I wasn't gonna preach, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, so that is our overview. If you have any questions, please feel free to always drop them in the chat. We're interacting during this whole session. So up next, I want to introduce to you. You already know her, but Reverend Menagerie.
Thank you. I appreciate you opening up with the successful failure portion. When I was in high school, one of my teachers told me that failure standed for first attempt in learning. Also, when I saw it, I was like, it gotta stand for that because, and me as being an educator and all of this stuff, I have continued to say that. I literally said that to someone yesterday. I never look at the word fail. It is first attempt in learning. Always. So thank you for saying that and starting us off with that. Before we get started, our scripture anchor for this evening is Proverbs and 13 verse 22. And I'm going to break that down for you. We're going to get into why we're using that specific one. But with anything that I like to do, we need to ground ourselves for this conversation. We are talking about our spirituality. We are really our spirituality around money, how we got here, things that we might have took from our parents. And I really want you to, I'm going to be asking some questioning today. And I really want you to think about these things, to comment on these things, and to address them. It is my hope on this phone call that we've all had our challenges with money and understanding things. But before we do that, we want to ground ourselves. Within this exercise, we are going to inhale through our nose for 4 seconds. I'll count off for us. We'll hold for 4 seconds. We will exhale gently for 4 seconds, and we're going to rest for 4 seconds. Heavy on the rest. So we'll do this twice. As you breathe, I want you to choose a word you need tonight. That could be peace. That could be clarity. That could be courage. That could be enough. Whatever words you need for the night, I want you to announce that. So inhale through your nose for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale gently. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do that one more time. Inhale through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold that breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale gently. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. In this moment, if you want to announce what word came to you today, in that moment that you had to breathe, to hold your breath, to exhale your breath, and to rest. The word that comes for me would just be intentional. I hear that we have peace. I'm hearing open. I see connection. Hold all those words in this moment as we go to this next slide. So the scripture, Proverbs 13 and 22, is a good person leaves an inheritance to their children's children. I don't want to think about some things, because when we say inheritance, it's not always just money. It could be lessons. When we think about that, today we remember that inheritance is more than just dollars. It is habits, it's values, it's community care. Any resources that we steward, that's inheritance. We often sometimes just look at this where this needs to be monetary things. This text lets us hold both spiritual formation and generational impact, especially amid unequal histories that shape who even gets to build wealth. And I'm saying that from a standpoint of a person that has not had everything going for me. It has been hard to do these things. It has been hard to learn new habits. Honestly, a lot of some of the investing and things that I did was way into my 20s of learning things. My father, when he first taught me about saving, and I am thankful for that. That is how I bought my first flat screen TV when flat screens first came out. I'm not going to tell my age, but when they first came out, it was $600, and I saved my money by keeping my fives. My daddy told me to keep my fives. Said, keep your $5. You get a $20 bill that's broken down, you keep your $5 bills. Keep that up and you save that. That was the way that I was taught to, that was saving. I'm for sure my daddy still does that. He still does it, right? Now, it's not that my daddy wasn't smart. That was the way that he learned how to do things. You know, and then this moment, we are naming money as spiritual, because how we earn, how we share, how we save, give, advocate, reflects who and what we value. Tonight, we will notice stories we've inherited, the wisdom that we choose to hold, and the history that shaped our starting lines. And we all have starting lines. A quick pause with a show of head nods or hand raises. No sharing is required for this. But who grew up where money was survival? I'm gonna raise my hand. Money was survival over here. Who learned don't talk about it? Sometimes it makes sometimes it makes you nervous. Who was taught that money saves community? And I'm gonna be honest, I learned some of that later in life. Not the fact that my parents didn't care about it. It just was not the focus. Survival was the focus. So when you're thinking about survival all the time, how can you give back? How can you do certain things? You're not thinking, you need your pennies. You need your pennies. I want to do, and we don't have to do this for a full 60 seconds, but a solo pause. I want you to use your phone notes. You can use your notepad, whatever you might have. But I want you to finish this one sentence. In my family, money was. Some examples might include a secret. It was stressful. It was shared status. Maybe you was keeping up with the Joneses. That's what you saw. It was survival. Or is it a blessing for others? If you want to type that in the chat, you can. If you want to share, you can keep this to yourself. I'll give you guys a few seconds to just kind of think about that. I'm going to be honest on mine. I already know what mine is. In my family, money was stressful. My dad still, limited. Ooh, definitely. Yes, limited. It was an adult thing. Money had to be earned. Yep. And when you're thinking about that, for me, money was stressful. My dad still does this. He puts all of the bills on the table with the receipts and all these things, and he sits for a couple of hours and he's sending these bills out. But it was a stressful moment. Seeing him do that, you're going through these bills and you're seeing what you need to pay. You're scratching your head. You're doing all of these things in the moment. So it never seemed like, oh my goodness, when you look at bill payment, you're like, my Lord, is it gonna give me gray hairs? In this moment, I want you to just reflect and name one gift it gave you and one limit this placed on you. So as we thinking about, it might have limited. It was all of these things that were said. In that present day, as you as a young adult, name one gift it gave you and one limit it placed on you. Take a few moments for you to think about that. If you want to share out loud, please do. If you want to type that in the chat, please do that as well. Again, this is naming one gift those fears or those habits gave you, but also one limit it placed on you. Gift was organization. Limit was seeing other options. Yes. Made me feel responsible about money as becoming an adult, and yet it made me operate at times from, scarcity and fear. Yep. The fear, just scared. You don't know how to move. You're not feeling right. Gift with the responsibility, the limit was fear. So we all can say that we picked up fear from money. Fear when we look at it. One thing I will say now is for me, as I focus on, my meditation exercises, all of these things, I will often say randomly, money is attracted to me. Money flows freely to me. I will be nourished by opportunities that nourish my soul. But I had to get there in order to start doing that. So, but it took some time. And again, we're trying to break some habits. It is okay for you to learn new habits at 35, 37, 42, 54, doesn't matter. You can change any habit, anything that your family might have been doing these last few years, doesn't matter. If you want to change it, you can. Next slide for me. So we when we think about that, whatever we inherit, it isn't our destiny. Tonight is about curating the legacy we pass on. Inheritance, when we think about that, the stretches of inheritance is beyond dollars and speaking to the thought of our integrity, our boundaries, the generosity, and the storytelling. Now, when we're naming history in one sentence, we've each experienced maybe redlining, maybe somebody grew up in the hood, wage gaps, still dealing with that. Student debt burdens. Hey, I am now just being at the tender age of 37, being able to buy a home. But I didn't see that as an option. And this is me being honest in this moment. That would be my first time of being able to do that now. And my story is like a lot of people my age. We are all dealing with some of that. We're not broken. Some of these systems are. But see, wisdom helps us resist extraction. So at the same time, we name the water we swim in. But we can change that. You can change the flow of that, get out the ocean, maybe hop into a pool, however you want to do it. But we can change that. So I want to have a moment of just thinking and talking. So what money beliefs serve your family survival, but no longer serves you flourishing? What money belief serves your family survival, but no longer serves you flourishing? Another question I want you to think about. You don't have to think about all of these. You can comment in the box. You don't have to answer all three. What belief would you like your children's children? This could be literal. This could be chosen to inherit instead. Because I don't want my kids sitting at the table with their bills. It just was not what it is. And if your bank statements were a testimony, what would they say you worship? Status, survival, solidarity? Think about that in this moment. You can comment in the box if you'd like to. If you want to say anything out loud, that's fine as well. But these are some base questions that we want to think about. Again, as we're signing, we're going to do this for 2 more sessions, and we're going to break down into some behaviors. But this is the forefront of like, what do you want to change? What are you not wanting to bring with you? We have to think about that. And the thing about it is, some of us on this call have children. I got a fur baby. She's watching. But some of y'all got real babies, and they're watching too. So every habit that you do, just like I'm able to recollect my dad sitting at the table with these bills, they're going to be able to recollect these things too. So what do you not want to carry into that next generation? What do we want them to change? I'm going to give you guys a second to just kind of think about that. Now, I do, if we can get 2 volunteers to share in a sentence, where has silence about money protected shame rather than dignity? And what boundary would honor both your generosity and your rent, your food, and your medicine? So what would honor that, along with the fact that the lights got to stay on. The dog food is expensive, y'all. I don't know, but y'all know, but dog food is expensive. So in that, what can we do to honor both of those things? You can go to the next slide for me. As we're continuing to look at the spiritual reframe in this justice lens, Proverbs 13:22 equals habits. It equals values plus resources. And I want to look at this specifically. family scripts versus your chosen practices. So the family tip is scrutiny, okay, scarcity rather. And for that one, what we can do instead of being scarce in situations, we can have an emergency cushion. And even that $5 a week that I was talking about my dad, again, that $5 a week got me my first flat screen TV. If that's what you need to do, that's what you do. Silence. I still deal with this, and I see this a lot within Black and Brown communities. There is a lot of silence around money when we should be talking. We should be talking. We should be sharing. We should see like what habits is working for Dan next to Tina. We should know. We should be talking about those things. So if you look at the silence part, you should transfer that to transparency ritual. This is a monthly 10-minute money check. You can do this with your partner. You can do this with a friend. If you don't want to talk to anybody and you want to do it with yourself, because I have conversations with myself all the time, it's okay. It's okay for you to do that, but you can have that transparency ritual, asking real questions and being honest. You know, we're trying to build goals, not guilt at the end of the day. We can't get you anywhere to be successful with the guilt. You got to let the guilt go. Again, money flows to you freely, through you, to you. And when you're thinking like that, I let go all guilt go at that point. Performative spending versus values-based budget. You list 3 values: joy, justice, health. You make one purchase this month directly towards those expenses each, or skip one that only performs a performance status. You know, maybe you might not need something like, hey, this is just me performing in this moment. I don't need it. Might have to skip that. Another one is boundaryless helping and boundary generosity with giving plans with limits. That's picking a percentage, a dollar cap you can give without destabilizing yourself. You pre-decide who and what gets it. Mutual aid, church, family. I have to say this for myself because I love my mother, but my mother is a borrower. She is. Love her to death. And if she hear me say that, she's gonna be like, you telling my business. but in those moments, there are times when I had to learn to tell my mama, no, I can't give you that $200. And although that's my mother and I love my mother, but your financial situation says nothing to mine. And because you are in a bind, I love you. And if there's anything you need, I'm gonna do it, but I'm not gonna control your frivolous spending and make it come affect me. I can't do it. Now that's a hard thing to do with my mom. That's my best friend. But did it have to get done? Absolutely. Because I can't meet my financial goals based off of my mama. It's just, it is what it is. You know, so we have to think about that. When we're looking at this at a justice lens, our choices matter. The playing field is not level. We understand that, but we need to practice personal stewardship and communal advocacy in that. And that's just honestly how we are going to get to where we need to get. You know, legacy is crafted by small, repeatable acts. That's it. Small, repeatable acts. You have to remember that. Now, discussion C's. If you want to name something, you know, what is one money belief you are unlearning at this moment? You know, what is a spiritual value, whether that's joy, justice, Sabbath, integrity? Do you want your money to reflect this month for you? And I think this might sting a little bit, but who helped or hindered your ability to build inheritance? And how can you be that help for someone else? I can name this that, again, I grew up in a 2-parent income household. Thankful for what my parents did. but it was a lot that they did not know about different financial things. If I would have known some of the importance of having your Roth IRA accounts and having an investment portfolio that has a nice diversified stocks in there. I'm not going to say that, I can't say totally that they hindered me because they wanted to. I can just say the hindered, it's from the lack of not knowing, from system things that we know as Black and brown people we just weren't able to get. So in this day and age, and you are building your legacy, you don't want to hinder the name of your family and how everybody else is set up, whether that's coming from the will and trust being in place, so that when that time comes, your kids aren't fighting in probate court. And that's a whole nother session by itself. We ain't made it that way. But these are the reasons why we are wanting to just set ourselves up to be financially stable and to just to unlearn certain things. Next slide for me. So as I wrap up my session, and I'm giving it back to Miss Sophia, the commitment and blessing. So my one-line commitment, and you can say this quietly or jot it down, don't care how you do it, I just want you to commit to it. This month, I will practice blank, so my legacy includes blank. Whatever that is for you, you don't have to share that with me. That's all good. I just want it for you in the way that you are moving about and doing things. My blessing to you is that may the Holy One rewrite harmful scripts and root us in wisdom, dignity, and enough for us and those after us. Legacy is crafted in small, repeatable acts. Said that earlier, mean it again. We just got to create habits. Take a screenshot of that information. This is my contact information if anybody wants to discuss things or just learn about youth and young adults resources. Thank you, guys.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. That was amazing. Look, you got some people in the chat saying they need some therapy after this. Listen, we're gonna soothe your soul in just a little minute, all right? Thank you so very much, Reverend Menagerie. That was an awesome lesson on Proverbs, and more importantly, on understanding your history, you guys, with money. A lot of people don't understand that you are moving on autopilot based off of the things that you saw as children. I talk about that in one of my classes. So listen, this is step one. What they say first, acknowledge that you have a problem. And so listen, we are now acknowledging so that we can walk into our freedom. Amen. So now we're moving on to from poverty to prosperity, understanding your money mindset. This is one of the modules from the Making a Child Change nonprofits curriculum. You can go to the next slide. We do high school, 9th through 12th grade. And one of the first lessons that we teach is mindset. You know, once you understand your history with money, you need to understand your thoughts about money, your relationship with money. People say that what relationship could you possibly have with money? Well, Menagerie said it very clearly. Look at your bank statement and it will tell you your truth, right? That is one of the first introductions that I used to do when I used to teach financial literacy to adults and business owners. We used to have to do, I used to call it a financial interview. And you would have to do your budget sheet based off of the last 30 days. So I'm gonna give that as a nice little tidbit to the group who's watching in and who's listening. If you really want to know how you're circulating your dollars, and listen, I speak differently too. When Menagerie talks about the language, spending ends your money. So I utilize the word circulation. So just to let y'all know, it means the exact same thing. So I'll be going back and forth depending on what my mind decides that it wants to say in the moment. And sometimes spending is necessary for the emphasis. You can go to the next slide, please. So Now that you guys have gotten a nice little spanking real quick, right? What are you thinking about money right now? Just drop it in the chat, right? And we have our lovely tech support helping in the background with us because we want to be able to capture this information in real time. People don't recognize that you think about money whether you want to or not. You can be silent about it. You can be quiet. But when those bills come the mail, you're thinking about it. When you get that paycheck, you're thinking about it. When you're shopping, you're thinking about it. When you're eating, you're thinking about it. When you're getting ready to go to the grocery store, the gas station, your clothing, when you're getting dressed, there is never a time in your life where money is not a thought. Don't let the world lie to you. It is just the truth. I'm sorry, Tania. But it is really just what the facts of life are. So let's talk about what are some good thoughts that you have around money. You can drop them in the chat. You can come off mute. However you want to be able to interact is fine with me, right? And then after we get some of these good thoughts that we have around money, I want us to think about what's some bad thoughts that you have around money. And you don't have to do them in order. Some people literally think about the bad stuff first. That is okay. Like one of the ones I always hear, money is the root of all evil. Let me debunk that lie and that myth right here, right now. That is not what that scripture says. Okay, it says, for the love of money is the root of all evil. I see so many people, especially my church folks, scared of becoming rich and abundant because they think being rich makes you bad. No, the person was bad before they got all of that money. We need more good people with money so we can get more positive things happening in our communities, within our lifestyles, and within our circles, right? And what are just some random thoughts that you have had about money? Hey, come on now. I like that. Beautiful. It's always coming to me. Listen, it comes easily and freely, right? It is always in circulation. One of the things that I learned from a good time reverend called Reverend Ike, I ain't gonna preach his message, but he used to always say, talk to your money sweetly. If you talk bad about your money, money ain't gonna want to come to you. Think about a friend. If you talk about your friend and you dog her all the time, like, oh my gosh, she ain't never enough. She always late. I ain't got this, I ain't got that. You think that friend wants to hang out with you? No, it's the exact same thing with money. You talk bad about it if you're frustrated with it, if you're irritated with it, if it brings you a level of sadness, it is going to repel in your life. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear it, but you have to understand what the truth is so you can now start to change your mind around it. Yes, come on, I love this. What we got, it said it's a means, right? That means to actually get things done. It's always coming to me. It's attracted to me. Yes, it is. It is a tool, right? Growth, opportunities, blessings. The universe, you speak positive light into it. Yes, yes. Amen. What are some bad things about money that y'all done heard, right? We already got the root of all evil. We debunked that one today, but we still gonna put it out there in the atmosphere because it's I know it's gonna be lingering. What's some other bad things that we think about money? Greed, yes. Listen, that's another reason why people are so scared to actually hold large quantities of money. And I need you to understand, as a church, as a body of believers, as people who need to be empowered, the only way we're going to be able to be effective in a capitalistic system is to be able to take their means and use it for good. Okay, so we can't run away from the dollar. Okay, we got to learn how to play the game so that we can be able to do what's good with it. Tool of Satan. Ooh, that's good, Jude. That's good. That's good. But listen, it can be a tool of God too. Listen, whatever we use for bad can also be used for good. Amen. More money, more problems. Listen, that is the quote. You know, at one point in time, I used to think that, but then I had a better understanding of what that meant. What generally happens when people get more money and they don't know how to manage their finances is that they create more problems because they start spending more money. I told you, you got to use the word sometimes to add emphasis, right? You get a $100,000 increase, but I won't make it small. You get a $50 increase on your check. Instead of saying, let me invest that into the 401k, let me put that into the savings, let me increase my giving. What do? You go out and buy something else. And that thing break down, and now you got to get it fixed. More problems. So it's just all about the direction that you move your money in, not deserving of it. Woo. Black and brown people deal with that conversation on a regular basis, and it was strictly because of programming. Strictly, listen, we have been programmed to believe that if you are poor, that you are doing a justice, right? That oh my God, you bless your poor soul. Like it's a good thing. It's not. It's never enough. As long as you believe it is never enough, it will never be enough. That is what the fact is. All right, what's some random thoughts? Worst, we go in debt long term with payment plan. Tania, Klarna, Affirm. I ain't doing no shout outs, but I'm letting you know those things have been very dangerous. Afterpay, they have been very dangerous to a lot of people. Okay. Now I will tell you this trick because listen, I'm one of those people. I have to tell everybody up front. I didn't start off with a 700 credit score. I've been in the 400s. I've been in the high 7s. I've been back down to the 5. I floated around in the 6. Okay. I have not been perfect with my finances. And you want to know why I can teach what I teach is because I know what the lifestyle is for each one of those areas. I've floated through the whole cycle of it. Okay. But this is what I want to say about the Afterpay. And this is what I need y'all to know. It has to be used as a strategy. If you know you want to circulate $600 and let's just say your Amazon cart, I'm just going to throw it out there, right? When you do a budget, right? We talked about the boundaries earlier. When you do a budget, you know that you're going to add that $100 into your budget for the next 6 months. The strategy is now the $500 that you are now saving on that purchase needs to be allocated somewhere else. That don't mean you get to go party with the $500. No, you didn't use the Afterpay to be able to circulate more dollars. Now you've just spent $1,100. You just didn't spend it all at one time. So just some little tips that's in there, get you guys to understand some things. Lack of financial education. Yes, yes, and yes. That has been one of the biggest woes in my heart, right? One of the things that frustrate me the most is that we can teach kids how to do a science fair project. We can teach kids how to write 20-page papers. We can teach kids how to do book reports, but we can't teach them how to pay a credit card bill on time. We can't teach them how to create a budget. We can't teach them how to be able to, pay off the student loan debt that everybody forced you. Hey, you got to make sure you go to college, but we're not going to tell you how to pay off that $120,000. Like that is the thing that frustrates me. So yes, the lack of financial education. Credit score ebbs and flows. Yes. Oh, you was snacking off of my notes. Thank you. I appreciate you. And have and follow a budget. Yes. Listen, I know we're not going to talk about that this week, but since it came up, I just want to say this. The budget, the big B word, is not a bad word, y'all. People hear budget and they run. Oh my God. No, I got to get out of here. What do you mean do a budget? Let me explain what a budget is in simple terms that will ease your mind. It is a focus for your dollars. The same way you have a schedule, the same way you get up and have an alarm, the same way that you sit down and you make plans is how you have to do with your money. That's all a budget is. You're just planning out your money. And guess what? Nobody's going to come and lock you up if you don't follow it. It is okay. And I'll tell you the easiest way to build a budget is to be honest with yourself about what you like to spend your money on. I tell my clients all the time, put the entertainment in there, put the habits in there. I'm telling somebody's business. Listen, put those extracurricular activities in there, right? You are literally saying, this is what this dollar is going to do this month for me. And that is where you start to control the money, and the money is no longer controlling you. The longer you hide from it, the longer you sit down and you say that it is not enough. Like, and speaking of not enough, it'll let you know exactly if you have enough. That's the blessing. If you got $1,000 check and you're able to sit down and you know this bill is this is due here, this is this, and this, break it down. You are giving yourself the opportunity to be ahead of the game and to win. You're not looking up on the 15th like, oh my God, that bill was due. Or dang, I ain't have enough money for that. Because now you get to see, oh, you know what? Last week, I did spend an extra $30 at the gas station. That's why I'm short now. Instead of, going out next weekend for my lunch with my girls, I'm going to go ahead and just stay home because I know that $30 already got used. It now puts you in the driver's seat of your finances. Thank you guys so very much for your participation. I appreciate it. It just gets me excited when the room is lit. Okay. Let's keep going. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So when we talk about mindset, right, we have to understand what the basis of our foundational thinking is. And at Making the Child Change, we have developed 4 different types of mindsets, which you guys will find out exactly what yours is in just a moment. So don't run away. That comes to how you look at money, how you look at finances, how you look at dollars. So I like to start with the sexy one first, right? The prosperous mindset. What does being prosperous mean? This is the core belief when you have a prosperous mindset. I am the master of my money, not the other way around. When you know that you are the one in control of the bank account, that when you're not checking your account, get nervous and scared of an overdraft fee because you planned in advance exactly what was necessary, right? You're also an investor when you have a prosperous mindset. Reverend Menagerie talked about this earlier. She wished she would have known about the 401ks and the IRA plans when she was younger. But let me tell y'all, and everybody else who's going to listen to this, it is never too late. Once you know, all you have to do is start, okay? And it may not be, I'm investing $100. It literally may be that $5 a week, right? It has to start somewhere because that's the only way you get the discipline and the consistency to want it to grow better and for yourself to grow better. You understand that it has financial freedom and you have influence when you have a prosperous mindset. You can walk in those rooms where the doors seem to be closed and you can change minds and change lives. A lot of times we as a church body don't get to have enough influence in political systems is because we don't have the cash to back up what we're talking about. And we got to be honest. Our governmental system is cash ran. It just is what it is. We see exactly what's happening with our communities right now when they decide that they want to shut down the SNAP benefits, when they want to shut down Social Security benefits, when they want to shut down everything from A to Z. This is why I tell people don't rely on the government, y'all. I know the system, it was nice at one point in time in the day, but in 2025, we got to be able to have multiple streams of our own income. Whether you're being creative, being an entrepreneur, and I'm not talking about mad at people who got multiple jobs. My grandfather was Jamaican. He like, that's the joke. Jamaicans always got tons of jobs. Listen, for the longest, I had about 5 different incomes and I worked every last one of them. You hear me? It's just what you got to do to be able to balance your life and know what type of lifestyle that you want to live. That's what's most important, right? And we're getting that into some coming weeks. The next mindset is a plentiful mindset, right? And that core belief is there's more than enough to go around. Now, I know you're saying like prosperous, not saying yes, but it's levels to it. Prosperous, understand it's unlimited. It just is. Like they walk in the unlimited. Their lifestyle is unlimited. They're not borrowing. They don't owe anything. There's no debt, right? They are living a freedom lifestyle. Plenty for us more, and they're also a giver. I want to be able to point that out, right? When you get to a point of in prosperity, you understand that giving has to be top priority. My goal for every year is that I want my giving to be my largest expense in my budget. Last year I was able to do that. I don't know how. Look, that was God showing out. like that was a miracle and amazing to be able to say, because most people's largest expense is rent. Right? So to be able to say that I gave more than my mortgage or more than my housing expense, that was a blessing, right? And then also understand that I'm giving to myself. My grandmother, I love her dearly, but her theory was you pay bills first. We don't do that in 2025. That was good for the 90s. I'm not doing that no more. So Fia gets paid first. If the taxes can take their money out of your check before it hits your account, why are you not saving for yourself? I just want that to sit. If you are willing to let Uncle Sam take his cut first, why are you not giving to yourself next? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So plentiful, understand there's more than enough to go around, right? And it's more so about material success in this category, right? This is like you've owned the car, you've gotten the house, right? It's just the physical attributes of life that you've got ownership over. The pincher mindset, core belief is I must hold on to every dollar or I'll lose it. Like when we talk about scarcity, when we talk about I'm scared of being able to circulate my dollars in a certain way because I don't know when it's gonna come back, right? I always heard that closed hands can't receive anything. So if we saying that money is supposed to be in circulation, it's supposed to be free flowing, which means what goes out comes back in. And I'm gonna tell y'all this affirmation that I use when I do bill pays. Every dollar out is another dollar in. And listen, the more you do that, it will change your mind about how you pay your bills. The fact that you can pay your bills should be a blessing off rip, because there are a lot of people who can't. There are a lot of people who don't even have a house to pay a house note or a light and gas bill. There are people who don't have cell phone bills because they don't have phones because they can't afford them. So the fact that you're able to do it, you need to look at it as a blessing. Don't do it with regret. Don't do it with frustration or irritation, because that energy that you're putting into that one thing is now affecting the whole sphere of the way your money is flowing. And guess what? Every last one of us got bills that we got to pay. So why not let that be the most joyous activity that you can do at the beginning of the month? Like, yes, I get to pay this today. Oh my God, I got it to do it. And really make it exciting for yourself. It sounds crazy at first. My kids was looking at me like I lost my mind, but guess what? They know what time it is. Oh, mama paying off stuff. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Because they know that changed the dynamic and the energy around how they view it. So when they got their own places, they had a more level of peace. Like, I get to do this, not that I have to do this. And also, they make decisions and they regret it later. Have you ever made a purchase and you told yourself, "Oh, I wish I wouldn't have did that"? Yeah, that's some pincher mentality right there, okay? And it's okay. It happens to all of us. That's probably why I take forever to make large purchases, because I don't want that. I don't want that regret later on, right? Like, even knowing what a prosperous mindset is, I still myself slip down into the other categories. This is not who you are. It is just how you're thinking in the moment. Okay? I don't want nobody to be scared when they taking this quiz coming up next. Okay? And lastly, but definitely not least, the poor mindset, right? This is the I'll never have enough. We talked about that. That was one of the bad thoughts that people have. And that's that survival mentality. See, with the pincher, you're at least willing to take a risk to put money out there, right? But when you're in a full-blown scarcity shutdown mentality, it is like this. You are hoarding every little thing that you get, that you're never releasing. You go, and these are the type of people, you're sitting in church and they start talking about tithing, and you instantly, you're flushed, you're stressed out. Don't be that way. You got to find a level of freedom and peace that comes with, listen, I'm not about to be mad because I can't give. Okay. That just means now I have to become a better steward of my finances. And don't let them guilt you. We talked about guilt earlier, into 10%. If you don't have it, you don't have it. Give what you can. And you have to start somewhere. If it's $1, if it's a penny. When I was a kid, my granny used to give me the penny to put in the church. I wasn't complaining about that penny. I felt good just to be able to give. And so just being able to start somewhere allows you to move forward. Also, living paycheck to paycheck. You got to find your space into that. It's not a bad thing, but are there other means? Can you ask for that raise? Can you get a different job in a different field? Can you create a product or a service to sell it? Right? Let's just put it in the bag mindset and not think about it. How can I change that? Put it in the bag is in between the pincher and the plentiful, right? Because that is the, I got it, I'm about to go get it. But something telling me if you're asking about it, then you really are regretting the fact that you did that, right? Being able to release what you're circulating your money on and allowing it to be, I had it, I got it, it is what it is, and not having that regret later. It is. And if you're a put it in the bag person, put that in your budget. Put the $200 in shopping in your budget. See, people don't think that they can do that. They think, no, I can't do that. Yes, you can. It's your budget. You do what you want to with your budget. You like to shop every month. Put it in your budget to put it in there every month. Okay, I'm gonna be the one to tell y'all. Y'all can tell them Money Mama Sophia the one told you that. Okay, and no, that YOLO, listen, that's dangerous. If you ain't planning to buy it, don't buy it. Just put it in the budget for next month. Okay. All right, we good? Everybody at peace? All right, let's move on to the next slide. So now you guys get to figure out exactly what your money mindset is. So if you're on the phone already, our tech support has gone ahead and dropped those links into the chat. You can click on it and it'll take you straight to the quiz. The first one is for those under the age of 18, so 17 and under. That's the youth survey. If you're over the age of 18, then I would suggest you take the young adult survey. Now, I'm going to be 100% transparent with you guys. The surveys are the same. They're just phrased easier so the younger people can understand the wording. Okay. So the message and the content is going to be the exact same either way. But I want you guys to take these quizzes. It's only 10 questions and they're quick answers. Once you get that, you can ask for the results to be sent to you. And then I also am willing to sit down with you to actually go over your results. Once you get them to me, there's going to be an email that comes to you with all of the breakdowns of one, if you have a poor mindset, how can you improve it to a prosperous mindset? If you have a pincher mindset, how can you improve to a prosperous mindset? If you have a plentiful mindset, how can you improve to a prosperous mindset? And if you are already thinking prosperity all the time, then guess what? It's going to give you some extra tips to be able to keep that level of thinking. So we're not going to wait on y'all to take them. Screenshot this screen, save it. You'll be hearing from me from the Making the Child Change email. Next slide. Beautiful. So we are coming to the conclusion of season 1. Look, God talking too much. Stop. Session 1 of our Adulting 101. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to drop them in the chat or to come off mute. We would love to be able to hear your beautiful voices. The luxury that you have is that you're here live with us today. So if there's anything that you want to talk about, you want to discuss, you feel like there's something that's amiss, and you need some clarity on, Reverend Barry, Reverend Menagerie, and myself, we are here now, until I guess we get kicked out of the Zoom room. So I'm on mute and get some water because my mouth is dry, but feel free to talk to us.
Yeah, and we also recognize that we are past time. We scheduled for 60 minutes to this. So we are also grateful for you all to stay and engaging with this. But if there is a question that one of you or a few of you say, I want to, throw it out there before this closes, we don't want to limit you because we're not about limiting mindsets here. We're about prosperous mindsets. So we're going to want to have a prosperous and open space for all of your questions too. But just as Sophia and Reverend Menagerie have said, you see Sophia's information here. You have seen Reverend Menagerie's information there. And I just want to thank you all for being part of this wonderful conversation. Tonight, we explore how our mindset around money is shaped by culture, history, and spirituality, and that can either limit or liberate us. So we reflected on the spiritual dimensions of financial stewardship and the importance of reframing from scarcity into abundance, and the role that community has in shaping our financial narratives, starting with our houses and our homes, our families. We also consider how money, when we understand it as a tool and responsibility, can become a source of empowerment rather than a stress or shame source. We hope that you leave tonight feeling more empowered, curious, and ready to challenge all beliefs and build new habits rooted in your values. Hopefully you all, including ourselves, we all can commit to do what Reverend Menagerie challenged us to do. Please, I invite you to take a moment to complete the evaluation survey. Your honest feedback will help us serve you in ways that are actually needed. We don't want to continue with part 2 and topics that you actually don't care about. And so take this survey. It's really quick. We also want to know, what can we do better? How can we do better to serve you and to give you the content and in the way that you are actually expecting it to? So just take some time. It really is like 5 minutes. If you don't complete it right now, you will be receiving a thank you email from me joining us, a follow-up email with the links for the surveys in case you lose them or you lost the QR code, with the recording link of this for you to rewatch if you want to share it or rewatch it yourself. And stay tuned for part 2, focused on the changing the behavior. This will be held December 10th. Save the date, put it on your calendar. At the same time, whatever in the globe you are joining us today, the same time you join us will be on December 10th. And you will receive, as I said, a follow-up email inviting you to complete the survey, register, and watch the recording. Thank you all. Thank you all. May we all leave this place not feeling burdened, but feeling a little bit more free. Thank you all. Have a good night.